Earlier today, reports began circulating out of the Boston area of a tremendous unexplained boom, the kind of sound that rattles windows and startles entire neighborhoods. Social media reports describe people hearing a loud rumble and even feeling a shake. This is not the first time the eastern seaboard has been shaken by mysterious explosions. In a previous video, we looked at several strange cases from Canadian history, from the tremendous clap heard over Lake Winnipeg in 1809 by fur trader George Nelson, to the mysterious flash and twin booms over Niagara Falls in 1953, when many locals suspected that a plane had crashed into the Niagara River, only for no wreckage to be found. And then there's the infamous Bell Island boom of 1978, one of the strangest cases of all, when a small island off Newfoundland was rocked by a deafening explosion. Blue flames reportedly shot from electrical sockets, televisions were ruined, and witnesses claimed to have seen strange balls of light and fiery objects in the sky. Some scientists blamed a mysterious phenomenon they called super lightning. Others suspected secret military experiments. Many who experienced it remain convinced that the official explanations did not fit what they saw and heard. These events are sometimes called skyquakes or mystery booms, sudden explosive sounds that seem to come from the sky, the ground, or somewhere in between. Sometimes they turn out to be aircraft, meteors, earthquakes, industrial accidents, or even something as mundane as a malfunctioning generator. But other times, the explanations are much harder to pin down. So with this fresh report from Boston in mind, I thought this would be the perfect time to turn the mic over to my subscribers. Over the years, many viewers of my channel have left comments describing their own experiences with mystery booms. We're going to start with Bob Loblaw, who left a comment 1 year ago. There was a boom here on December 27th in southern Ontario, around 9 p.m. that shook houses. Heard 7 miles away in Niagara Falls, New York, and the police found nothing. It sounded like something going overhead, and then a loud boom. I'm thinking meteor. And like I said in the introduction, Niagara Falls was the site of a really weird mystery boom in 1953. So not the first mystery boom in that area. Next comment's Chris Elliott, 4621, 3 years ago. I've only shared this a couple of times ever. Southern Ontario, 2011, approximately 10:15 p.m. Countryside, really dark. Was cloudy but calm and quiet night. Star visibility really low. Having a smoke at this time, everything is peaceful and normal night in the country. All of a sudden, a massive flash of light came out of nowhere in the northwest direction above the property, followed by a very loud thunderous booming, crackling, humming and echoing above the clouds. Then it was dark and quiet for a moment, interrupted by a constant vibrating buzzing sound, mixed with a bassy, humming, boomy sound that was constant like a plane traveling overhead. To me it sounded like a massive engine humming, or something mechanical and not nature sounds above the clouds. There was no thunder, lightning, or rain that day or night. This crazy sound that sounded like multiple things happening at once, vibrating, buzzing, booming, yet a constant humming sound like a large engine, but it sounded smooth at the same time. Hard to explain the sounds that came out of that flash of light. Then the constant sound of this thing was heard as it traveled towards the south. I could hear it louder than an airplane in the sky, and for a long time. I could hear this thing heading south for at least a couple of minutes, miles. The constant humming, vibrating, bassy, boomy sound above the clouds was traveling just above the clouds, it seemed, fading in the distance after a couple of minutes, but its sound was echoing throughout the calm night sky. I could hear it for so long. It was very loud at first, like being near an airport. Then it faded away like a plane passing over the sky. But these sounds are way off from any plane, thunderstorm, or anything I can describe that I know of. The flash of light I saw directly in my field of view. When the flash interrupted the darkness of the night, it was like a small rectangle, and all sides were pinched inwards. This light was a small shape like that, and expanded outwards as a white flash of light. Made this insane boom, crackle, buzz, sound like a bomb or massive generator starting up. Then the light collapsed back inwards on itself, and it was dark and silent for some moments, followed by the sound that trailed towards the night sky above the clouds I could hear for miles heading south. This memory baffles me every time I bring it up consciously. The sounds were incredible. I've never heard anything like it since or before. I've lived near busy airport and I've lived near military bases. Never heard anything like these sounds. Though the most interesting thing in my photographic memory is that pinched rectangular light that came out of nowhere just below the cloud line, and in the clouds and above them. When I press pause in my memory, I can see this light so clear, and its expanding flash of light was so quick, and just as quick as it arrives, it collapsed back into darkness. Then incredible sounds interrupt the calm, quiet night I was enjoying. And he says, "Your work is awesome and I appreciate what you do. The only reason I shared this." Oh, thank you very much. Next comment's cute kanji 3 years ago. There was something very similar to these mysterious booms near the coast, somewhere in either North or South Carolina. I remember reading about it, and I'm sure they caught the sounds on video too. It was fairly recent, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, so I'm not sure if the sounds are still going on. It's not uncommon, these mysterious sounds. I've heard about the bizarre mechanical or factory machinery type of sounds, as if huge pieces of metal weighing several tons are being moved or banging/rubbing up against each other, or huge engines are being started up and running. Bizarre sounds that are heard in the middle of nowhere, where there are no factories or industrial warehouses around for hundreds of miles. The only logical thing that remains is it is coming from underground. But what the hell is under there? A secret military base or industrial complex? A secret alien base? An underground civilization? All I know is I would not like to live somewhere isolated and hear them. Interesting idea coming from underground. I wonder what the Boston people think of that. Next comment, Synchronicity Scenario 144, 3 years ago. Last summer, 2021, I heard thunder coming up from the southwest. Where I am, that would be Minnesota. As it got closer, I could hear another sound in with it that sounded much like an engine, and the sound of the thunder didn't stop. It was constant. Maybe quieting here and there, but not much. It was during these quiet times you could hear what sounded like machinery or hydraulics, but there were no active machines nearby. Excavators, logging skidders, which are around here but not running that day. The sound rolled over our small community in about the span of 15 minutes. You could almost follow the sound with your eyes. It was that localized. The thunder continued northeast up towards the Trans-Canada Highway. As the thunder left, so did the sound of the heavy machinery, or grinding engine gears that seemed to be masked by the thunder. Next comments, A. Angel 452, 3 years ago. Great channel. I have researched and heard that the booms underground all over the world are the tunnels being built, so that all access to upper towns and cities can be attacked at the same time. I even had a dream that up from street drain road gutters has smoky fumes that killed you within a few minutes. I believe this could be a possibility, as well as a race of hybrid soldiers that could be in these tunnels on the ready. There was also so much talk of missing children and trafficked people being harmed and moved through down in these tunnels. I read or heard vocally from witness experiencers, and they are not listened to. Their stories are squashed by stupidity, probation, and called stirrers of the plot, so let's put them in the pot. That these things do exist inside our mantle and throughout our mountain ranges worldwide, as well as underground secret bullet rail trains and roads. There could be vibe more to this. People in the know need to tell us, what real evil are we up against? And how do we take our very lives back and freedoms of a new constitutional upgrade from the people for all the people again? So another person who thinks that it's coming from underground. Next comments, Richard Henry, 1969, 3 years ago. I was living in Daytona Beach about 4 to 5 years ago. We heard a boom so loud it rattled the whole building. They first said no planes were flying. Then when everyone said they wanted to know what it was, suddenly news says it was Navy test flights. I personally don't believe that, because I've seen and heard planes before. None made that kind of rattle. Guess we'll never know. Next comments, Ham Sandwich 4451, 3 years ago. This happened in a town about 30 miles away from me for a few weeks. Started and stopped suddenly. Like thunder, but without the rolling sound. Just a boom, like a snap. Next comments, Rebel Yale 2741, 3 years ago. Sounds like a number of effects caused by the earth moving deep underground. Possibly a rock, or multiple rocks, the size of a mountain breaking loose and falling to the bottom of a deep underground cavern, dense with quartz crystals. This would cause a piezoelectric effect, would account for the plasma balls and discharges, as well as possibly lighting underground methane pockets. The booms would be powerful enough to bounce off the atmosphere above us and back down again, to a location possibly hundreds to thousands of miles away from the event location. Rattle windows, scare animals like dogs, cats, and birds. Probably all animals would feel the urge to flee for safety. I'm not talking about an earthquake. I'm talking about caverns, open pockets of space, deep in the Earth's crust. and gigantic boulders coming loose at their ceilings and falling to the bottom, creating piezoelectric energy. Or it's Lucifer breaking free from his underground prison, or Kronos breaking free from Tartarus, his prison underground. The other sounds, like trumpets or nails on chalkboard amplified, could be pill-shaped tunnel-boring machines, huge machines that burrow anywhere from 6 to 15 miles per day, making underground railways connecting underground military bases for the elite to go and survive when they're ready to push the nuclear button, all paid for by us worker animals. That's a cheerful thought. Next comments user C4B9B 3 years ago. This has always been a mystery to me. In Amador County, where I grew up, east of Sacramento, California, we have them all the time. These we have here are not bangs or explosions, but muffled blasts that seem to come from deep in the earth. They pound in quick clusters, in bursts, and sometimes singular, but the energy is insane. To imagine how big and far away this explosion must be, you're just stumped. Nothing could be that powerful, yet leave a sound. A friend of mine lived in a canyon, right at the bottom, and we stood and listened to it boom under our feet. These are always during warm summer parts of the year. I've seen UFO/UAP a few times, and always keep an eye open, but nothing so far I've seen is connected to the booms. A friend also grew up here and started hearing them after I described the sound. We were walking on the roof of a ridge above town with a great view, and heard one. Someone's dog started barking, so that was a good confirmation. It's almost pure bass, thumps like a .45 caliber clap, but with the sound of a far-off bomb. We felt the slap of it too up on the hill. I wish someone would come and help do some research. I don't have the gear to be able to record them well, but they happen all the time across the country. I don't think it's lightning either. I've heard tons of it. In my mind, it couldn't be from lightning. So that's a rare story from California. Most of the stories that I've come across come from eastern Canada and the eastern United States. Let's go to the next one. Pillaging just for fun 3 years ago. Back in about 2012, we had reports on our local paper of mysterious and unexplainable vibrating/rumbling noises being heard late at night coming from the Warner Mountains. No source was ever found, but the noises seemed to stop occurring for whatever reason. That always fascinated me, so I really appreciated this video. So the Warner Mountains are where? Oh, California. So second story from California. Next comments Josiah Oak, 7425, 3 years ago. Recently we had a loud boom in Indiana. The news said they thought it was a meteorite entering the atmosphere and exploding, but they enter the atmosphere all the time and no booms. So lame excuse. Next comments Elijah James, 8837, 3 years ago. I experienced something like this about 2 weeks ago in an empty parking lot. It sounded like a car backfiring, and though there were 3 cars, there was nobody in them. I checked the tires to see if they had blown, but they were fine. When it went off, I thought I saw a flash of light, but because I wasn't looking directly at the spot, I'm not sure, but I could hear the concussion of the explosion. There was anything on the ground, no firecracker paper or any kind of evidence of an explosion, and I didn't hear any footsteps running away. Totally freaked me out, and none of the explanations stated here fit. Not planes, no boilers or storm, just an empty parking lot with 3 empty vehicles. The 2 vans had been parked there for 6 months, and the car had been parked for 3 to 4 hours. Next comments Andrea Dingbat, 3 years ago. Long time, very fun commenter. She says, oh heck, I have heard one of these booms. 2017 in February, Carlisle, United Kingdom. It was the early hours of the morning, but I'm an insomniac, so I heard the most enormous, dreadful boom. To be honest, I thought, here we go, some crazy person has pushed that red button, and I waited for the end. After what seemed like an hour, but was less than 10 minutes, I realized that the window would have come in by now. It was still cold with fear. Then a storm began like an afterthought. The storm wasn't much of one, and it was nowhere near as ferocious as that bang would have been caused by. I've experienced earthquakes, and it wasn't one of those either. Neither was it a sonic boom, although that's the closest thing I can describe it or compare it to. Terrifying. And our last comments, the Mystic Navigator 3 years ago. In 2014, I heard those loud trumpet sounds in the sky that many across the globe heard. I was grateful that a video came out because it stopped me still. I was waiting for something very strange to happen in our area. So it just goes to show that this isn't the first time this sort of thing has happened. And if you want to check out my old video on the subject, which covers in detail some of the older sightings in Canada, especially, the weirdest being the Bell Island boom. I'll include the link to the video in the description. Have a watch and let me know what you think.